Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2018 Freightliner XC Series Motorhome, we're going to be showing you how to install the Demco Air Force One install kit for the motorhome side only. Before we get into that though, why don't we just take a couple minutes, check this out, and make sure it's going to be what you need. When it comes to setting up flat tows, there's quite a bit involved, and you want to try to really think things through to get the best parts for what you're trying to accomplish. And so there's a lot of cool kits out there that kind of cater to particular situations, and that's exactly what this kit is there for. So it's going to come with all the parts you need to have the Air Force One set up on your motorhome. And so really you would use this in a situation if your vehicle already has all them parts on it on the car side, and you end up getting a new motorhome, right? Well, instead of getting the whole entire package again and buying parts you don't really need, since your vehicle's set up already, you can get just the motorhome stuff that comes in this kit, get the motorhome set up, and still be able to utilize the Air Force One braking system that's already on your vehicle side. Or, this is probably less probable. Some people might have a couple motorhomes, right? And if you do, you can set up your flat tow vehicle with the vehicle side and have both of the coaches set up with just the motorhome side, and you can take whatever one out over the road and be able to flat tow. I do want to mention though, this kit is not going to come included with the air hose that you're going to use to plug into the back of the motorhome to the front of your vehicle. So if you don't have one already, or you'd rather just have a spare on hand, you can grab these separately. With that said, there's quite a few variations of this kit in general. So, we're talking about the motorhome side. If you need just the vehicle side, they offer second vehicle kits for that. If you need the whole entire package, the vehicle and the motorhome, they have those kits available as well. So regardless of your situation, there's definitely going to be a solution out there for you. Aside from that though, there's really not a whole lot to this kit. It's just a few parts and pieces that'll let you kind of get the motorhome set up. And I feel like a lot of people are going to find themselves, with their flat tow already set up, getting a new motorhome, and instead of having to deal with changing all the braking system stuff, use this kit, get your motorhome set up, and you'll be squared away. As far as the installation goes, it's not that it's really complicated per se. It's just, sometimes it isn't a ton of fun having to crawl underneath the motorhome and get to where you're trying to go, but definitely doable. Take your time, and if you're going to be installing it yourself, feel free to hang around. We'll go ahead and get started on it now. To begin our installation here on our motorhome, we're going to be working at the back of it, and the first thing that we're going to want to do is mount up our air fitting. I got the air fitting mounted up, and you want to spot, where it's going to be easy to get to. So I just drilled 2 holes through the fiberglass and used the included nuts and bolts to secure this. Never had an issue, with the fiberglass or anything, so just use your best judgment in terms of getting this mounted up. We're now going to be working underneath of our motorhome, and that way we can mount up our tanks and tie into our air lines. We're going to be working just a few feet in front of our rear axle. So underneath the motorhome, bear with this here, not a ton of room to film underneath here, so we're doing our best, but you're going to have to identify your supply line and your metered air line. The supply line is usually a thicker line, and a lot of them are green in color. That doesn't hold true for every single one though, but this is our supply, and so that's going to have constant air pressure. All right, from the motorhome. And then the metered air, it's kind of tricky to see, but it's right below it, and it's a thinner diameter black line. All right, and what the metered air is going to do is only send air pressure out when the brakes are being applied. And so we're going to have to use our quick connect T-fittings to tee into the supply as well as the metered. When you do this, a lot of times there'll be undercoating on these lines. Before you plug them in to our quick connect, take some brake clean or something, or alcohol, and clean the lines real good, because if they're dirty they could potentially create a leak. So what I'll probably do is do one of these or do them both and show you what it looks like once they're done. It's just so tricky to see. And before you cut into your airline, make sure to drain all the air pressure in your rig as well. So I got our lines done, which I will show you in just a second. Makes more sense to do it this way given the space restraints. You will see them, but right here where we have this valve, bolted up, there's 2 factory nuts and bolts holding that in place. I think I'm going to utilize those to mount up our actual tank. So I have a 13 millimeter, or you can use a 1/2 inch socket and wrench and remove these 2 nuts. And I think these will line up perfectly with our tank. So once you get both them nuts off, you can take your tank, and there's already pre-drilled holes in the mounting platform that it's bolted to. You can just take that, slide it over the factory bolts, kind of get it sorted, positioned how you want here, and we'll go ahead and tighten it back down. This is what our tank looks like mounted up, and we're going to have 3 quick connect fittings on it that we need to hook up. One of them will go to our metered air, one will go to the supplied air, and one will go all the way to the back to that fitting that we installed. So we'll grab our hose and get that going now. So with our tank mounted, now we're able to hook up all of our air lines, and these are all going to work the same. Cut them clean, they push right in. This one here, you're going to cut maybe, I don't know, it's probably a 2-foot piece of line in our case. Plug it in, and then this is going to run up and get plugged into the metered air fitting, which is right up here. So here's a better look at the metered air fitting. Like I said, you cut the factory line in half, clean the ends, make sure they're straight and everything, and then it's just quick hit connect. So it plugs right in. Then the 1/4 inch line coming from our Air Force One kit plugs right into the top of that. Right above the metered air, we got that thick green tube. That's our supply line. And so that works the same, quick connect style, and it'll have a larger fitting in your kit that you can use like we did. And then you're going to take a piece of 1/4 inch air line, in our case, it's probably a few feet long, plug it into that end, and then that's going to run over to our new Air Force One supply tank. So here's our supply line that's tapped into our green airline, and like I said, you run that over, cut it to length, and that's going to connect to this fitting here on our Air Force One tank. The last fitting will be this one here, and you're going to take the remaining portion of your airline, the black airline tubing, plug it into this end, and then you're going to route that tubing all the way back to the fitting that we installed on the back of the motorhome. When you're routing, usually there's a ton of wires and stuff along the side of the frame rail. You can usually just follow those, but regardless on the path you take, do your best to make sure to avoid any hot or moving parts. And every now and again you can use a zip tie to kind of keep this secured and up out of the way. So I routed that all the way back. We'll go back there and check it out. Got that airline routed all the way back here, doing our best to avoid any of them hot or moving parts, and cut it to length, plug it right in to the air fitting. And that's really about it. Definitely a good idea to start the motorhome, let it build full air pressure, turn it off, listen for any potential air leaks. You can go under there, feel around, make sure you're not leaking any air. If you are, a lot of times those T's, sometimes they won't get pushed all the way in together. So if you're leaking, try to force them in together a little bit more, or you might have to pop them out, recut the line if you got it crooked or something, and try it again. So just make sure everything's sealed up and you'll be in good shape. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Demco Air Force One install kit for the motorhome side only on our 2018 Freightliner XC Series Motorhome.